Hello everyone and welcome back all of you in the session Introduction to Java Servlet. First, let us take a look to the topics covered in the last session. So in the last session, you have learned about how to create dynamic web project, and if dynamic web project is missing in Eclipse, so how to fix this problem. So in the last session, we have done this, how to fix the problem if dynamic web project is missing in Eclipse. So after this, in the current session, you will learn about how to create Hello World program using Servlet. This is the first program of Servlets. So in this session, you will learn about how to create Hello World program using Servlet. So to run the Servlet program, we should have Apache Tomcat server installed and configured in Eclipse IDE, and once the server is configured, you can start with your program. So in the previous sessions, we have already done everything, like we have installed Eclipse IDE, we have installed and configured Apache Tomcat in Eclipse IDE, and we have already fixed the problem if the dynamic web project is not displayed in Eclipse. So we have done everything, or we are ready to create the first program in Eclipse. So you can see here how to create the program in Eclipse. So the servlets can be created using two-way, or we can say we have the two-way to create the Hello World program in Servlet. First one is by extending generic servlet class, and second technique is by extending HTTP servlet class. So these are the two methods or techniques to create the servlet program in Eclipse IDE. That we start the first techniques, that is generic servlet class, how to create the program by extending generic servlet class. So this is method 1, extending generic servlet class. Generic servlet class exists in javax.servlet package. So in the previous session, just I have given you the brief introduction of the API of the servlet. So we have the two important package, javax.servlet package and javax.servlet.http package. So the generic servlet class is defined in javax.servlet package, and HTTP servlet class is defined in javax.servlet.http package. So let me use one by one how to create the Hello World program using generic servlet class. So first, before starting to write the program in servlet, we need to understand what is generic servlet class. So you can see what is it. Generic servlet class is defined in javax.servlet package, and generic servlet class is a protocol independent. Protocol independent means it can handle any type of request, and it should always override service method to handle the client request. So generic servlet class is just protocol independent, and it can take any type of request. It means it is just generic type of request. So, and generic servlet is an abstract class. Generic servlet class is also an abstract class, and it has only one abstract method, which is service method, and it means every subclass of generic servlet should always override the service method. It means any subclass of generic servlet class must override service method, because service method is what? Abstract method. User will define the definition of the service method, and generic servlet class implements the servlet config and serializable interface. So we have many classes and many interfaces in the API of the servlets. We will learn one by one. So this is all about the generic servlet class. The generic servlet class mainly used to handle the generic type of request, and it has one abstract method that is need to be defined by the subclass of generic servlet. And one important thing is it implements servlet and servlet config interface. Now you can see what is the servlet class hierarchy. So every class must implement servlet interface. So you can see on the right hand side, this is what servlet class hierarchy, and on the bottom side you can see user defined class like first servlet. This is what user defined class. The user defined class will directly the subclass of HTTP servlet class, which you will understand later section what is HTTP servlet class. So every user defined class is the subclass of HTTP servlet class or generic servlet class. And I told you every class must implement servlet interface. So if you are creating your servlet program using generic servlet class, so your user defined class will be the subclass of generic servlet class. And I told you generic servlet class implements the servlet interface. Servlet interface, and servlet interface define the lifecycle methods of the servlets. That's why any user defined class will extend generic servlet class, and generic servlet class automatically implements the servlet interface. So that is all about the servlet class hierarchy. Now come to next one, how to create the first program in servlet. So this is what creating hello world program in servlets, and this is a program. I will explain you in Eclipse how to write and how to create the first program in servlet. So first you will go to the file, new, and you will click on dynamic web project. In the dynamic web projects you can first write any project name. So you can write the project name live classes. This is what project name, and you can see this is what target runtime. This Apache Tomcat will automatically come here. This is what dynamic web module version. This is what 4.0. You no need to do anything. You need to write only your project name. You will click on next. You have to click on this checkbox, generate web.xml deployment descriptor, and after this you will click on the finish. When you click on the finish, it will take 10 to 20 seconds. According to the configuration of your computers, it will take the time. So maybe in my computer it will take 30 seconds to install your dynamic web project modules. So when this installation of dynamic web module will be complete, you can see here on the left hand side, now it is okay, and you can see here this one, live classes project name is displayed here. And when you will expand this package, you can see here you have different folders here: deployment descriptors, jx, wx, web services, java resources, javascript resources, build, web, contents. So after this, you need to understand one by one what is this. So you will expand Java resource and you have a src folder. So first you need to create a package name. So you will right click on this, go to new, and you will click on the package. This package is optional. If you want to create package, you can create, otherwise you can leave it, no problem. So I am creating the package. So I am writing the package name is what? Com dot my program. This is what package name, or you can write here com dot class. Com dot just I would like to write the good name. Anything you can write here. Live class. So you can write here com dot live classes. When you click on the finish, you can see this package will be created. So you can create package and you can directly right click on new and you can go to the class. This is optional attribute. You can create package according to your convenience. So right now I have created package. Right click on this package, go to new and click on the class. So this is the process how to create the servlet program. So first you can write here first generic servlet. This is the name of the class, first generic servlet. You will click on the finish button. So when you click on the finish button, you can see this will be like this, package com.live classes, and this is the class name will be created. The first generic servlet class is created. So just I am writing the first program in servlet. So I have just copied and pasted this program. So I will explain this program line by line how it works. Now you can see this is the first program in the servlet to print a simple hello world in the servlet, and that is because being the first servlet example, let us have a detailed discussion of each line. So this is what package name you have created, what package com.live classes. So this will be the first line, this will be the package name. After this you have import java.io. So java.io package is needed for print writer and input output exceptions, and no doubt you will or you are writing something on the web server or on the web browser, so you need to do some input output operations. So for input output operations you need and you require the java.io package. So this one is you need to import this one, import java.io package. After this you will use import javax.servlet. So the above package is imported for the sake of class servlet exceptions, and this is the basic package that contains the servlet API to build the servlets. So this package is mandatory and it is required. You need to import javax.servlet package. So basic APIs of the servlet are in javax.servlet package. After this you are creating what? Public class first generic servlet extends generic servlet class. So I told you every class in servlet will be the subclass of generic servlet class or HTTP servlet class. So I have shown you the class hierarchy of the servlets. This is what user defined class, and this will be the subclass of HTTP servlet class or generic servlet class. So you can see here. So to write a servlet, it is required to extend the abstract class generic servlet. It is just like applet in Java, which is required to extend to, or applet is required to extend to write an applets. It is just like applet. So every program of servlet need to extend generic servlet class. So I have already shown you the class hierarchy of the servlets. So this is the class hierarchy of the servlet. Now generic servlet class was used by programmer when HTTP protocol was not standardized for the web. So this handle the generic type of request. It means it can handle any type of request. So this is the first program to print hello world by extending generic servlet class. So after this, next line you have public void service. This is what abstract method defined in generic servlet class. So service method is a callback method called automatically when container loads the servlet for execution when the client request comes, and the service method takes two parameters. First is an object of servlet request interface and an object of servlet response interface. This servlet response and servlet request, these are the two interfaces that exist in javax.servlet package. Let me see what these interface will do here. So the first parameter request. So the first parameter request of servlet request interface is used when we extend generic servlet class, and the data sent by the client finally reaches servlet request object after traveling intermittent stages. That is, request object of servlet request receives data sent by the client. From this object, the servlet programmer can extract the data and can use for validation or other purpose. You can see in the program, and you can see the second parameter, that is what? Response. Now you can see the second parameter, response. The second parameter is servlet response. We use servlet response as parameter when we extend generic servlet. The responsibility of the data to be sent, like it is valid or invalid, to the client is taken care by servlet response. So when servers send the data to the client, it will be taken care by the servlet response interface. So the programmer job is simply to pass the response messages to servlet response, and actual sending is taken care by the container. So these are the two objects of servlet request and these are the servlet response. First is used to make the request, second is used to get the response from the server. And this service method throws two checked exceptions. Two checked exceptions, that is servlet exceptions and IO exceptions, to handle any kind of servlet exceptions and input output exception. After this you have a method setContentType. setContentType, you have a method. So content type is also known as MIME type. MIME is what? Multi-purpose internet mail extension. So what is setContentType method? So we know very well, when a servlet is loaded, the servlet container creates an object of servlet and calls service method, creates an object of servlet request and also an object of servlet response, and passes this object to service method when the first time servlet is loaded into the memory. So the job of servlet response is to pass data required to the client from the web server. So for this purpose, the response object comes with many methods, of which one is setContentType method. Set content type method is defined in servlet response interface, and it takes, and what it does, it sets the content type of the response being sent to the client. If the response has not been committed yet, the given content type may include a character encoding specification. So this is all about the set content type. It is used to set the content type of the response being sent to the client. So this method does not return anything, just its return type is what? Void, and this method is defined in servlet response interface, and it takes a string parameter, this one, and the string parameter's name is here text/html. So in text/html, text is known as type and html is known as subtype. So a type contains many subtypes. So this is one of the type, text/html. So this is one of the types defined in this method. So question is, who has set it? So it is not set by the servlets or anyone. It is set by the Internet Authority to set data for internet purpose in the name of MIME. MIME is what? Multi-purpose internet mail extension. So this is what? Text/html. And we have other list of content type. You can write text/plain here like this, text/plain, and you can also write the different one like application slash ms word, and you have many other applications slash pdf. So you have many type of content type you can set here. So I am just writing text/html. This is well known content type which is used when we communicate with the web server. So set content type is used to set content for the response that is being sent to the client, and this method is defined in response servlet response interface. So after this you will see print writer out is equal to response.getWriter, and you are printing a simple statement generic servlet example. So we know earlier the servlet response is used to send data to client. So being an interface, it cannot use directly. On the convenience way, the getWriter method, you can see here this getWriter method defined in servlet response interface and returns into the object of print writer, and the print ln or print method of print writer class is used to attach a message, and here the message is what? Generic servlet example and hello world greeting from India. So this is all about the first program in the servlet. So this is the step one, how to create the program. Now we have to do one more thing here. You will go to the web content folder here. This is what? Web content, you can see. You will expand it. You will expand web inf, and you will find here what? Web.xml file. So you will click on web.xml file, and sometimes you will not see this file in web content. So you can create from deployment descriptor. You can right click on deployment descriptor and you will click on generate deployment descriptor tab. So right now this this tab is disabled because web.xml file is in the web content folder. So you need to do, if this web.xml file is not displayed here, so you can click on generate deployment descriptor. So now you have opened web.xml file. One important thing you need to do, you have to do some mapping here. And what is the mapping? What is the mapping? I will show you what is the mapping. Just I am copying from somewhere. I am just copying some randomly data and putting here. So you need to remember everything here. You need to remember for every servlet, you need to do mapping in web.xml. Web.xml is what? Deployment descriptor file. It contains the entry of every servlet file. If you will not do mapping in web.xml file, it will the servlet program will not execute and it will display the server error. So this 8-line mapping means this is servlet tag and this is what? Servlet mapping tag. So what we have to do here, this is what? Class name. So you need to write here servlet name is this one, and this is what? Servlet class. Servlet class is what? Servlet class is what? Package name dot class name. So your package name is what? Com dot live classes. Your package name is com dot live classes and dot servlet file name. You need to remember this. This is what? Package name, and this is what? Class name. It must be equal to this. This must be equal to this, and like this you have to do entry in servlet mapping also. You will click here first generic servlet and you will click here first generic servlet. So this is the mapping for each and every servlet file. You need to do the mapping for every servlet file. Now you have created everything and you are ready to run your program. You need to save web.xml file with web.xml file. You will use Ctrl S to save this file. This file has been saved. You will go to first servlet file and right click here and click on run as run on server. You will save this file. You need to click on next. Now you need to select your project name also. So we have many projects. You need to select your project live classes. You will click on the finish button and the server is running now. It will automatically oh, it has a problem. Starting Tomcat 9.0 server at localhost has encountered a problem. I think we have done some mistake. So let me check what the mistake we have done here. See, we have done some mistake here. We have to use in URL pattern. This is what? URL pattern. This URL pattern will be displayed on the browser. We have to use this backslash here. You need to remember, if you will not write this kind of problem will arise. So you need to save it again. You need to save it again, and after saving this file you will run your servlet. It is taking time, and in your computer also web.xml file will take time to save everything. Now you will run on server, click on next, finish, and you can see here what is the output. Oh, very good. Now you can see the output is what? Generic servlet example, and you have printed hello world greeting from India. So this is the first program, and you can see the path is what? This is what? URL name. This is what? URL pattern. URL pattern is what? First generic servlet, and this is what? Package name. So sometimes you have to follow the path. Path is what? Project name and your URL name. URL name is what? First generic servlet. So you can see one more thing I want to tell you in web.xml file. In web.xml file you can see we have to do mapping for every servlet. Now one thing I want to tell you, this name may be anything like ABC. This name may be anything, but this must be the name of your servlet class name, and this must be your package name. So it must not be any different thing. com.live classes dot first generic servlet, understand? So this servlet name may be anything. If you have used here ABC, so here we'll also use ABC. ABC. This is what servlet name. This is what servlet name. Web.xml file is also known as deployment descriptor file. So this ABC must be equal to this, and this is what internal name. These are the ABC, and this is what internal servlet name. But and URL pattern. URL pattern is what which display here. So you can change also this one. You can change any name. Welcome. You can write like welcome. Let me save this file. Let me save this file, and I will run it again. If I will run it again, so you can see what is the output. What is the output? When you will do some changes in web.xml file, it will take time. So you can see here, if you will run again, save as, run on server, next, finish. Always you need to restart server. So you can see on the output of this program, again the output is what servlet example hello world greeting from India, and this is what URL name. This may be anything which will be displayed here, welcome. So you can see in web.xml file this name may be anything, and this must be equal to this, and this URL pattern may be any other name. So most of the time we use the same name because we have to do many programs. So every times we need to use different name, and we will be confused. So always use the same servlet file name in every way. So that is all about the first program in the servlet. So now this session is complete. In the next session you will learn about how to create the same program, hello world program, using the different class http servlet class. So thank you for watching this session. Have a good day.